Joining us now is Vimbai Muchihiri Ekpenyong, Niger wife. Our beloved Niger wife with stories trending around the world. Hello, Vimbai. How are you?
I'm fine, Dr. Atiku. Good morning. How are you? Good morning. Ayo. How are you guys doing today? Quite a packed show.
Yeah, it's interesting and a good day. Yeah.
Right? And I was saying you guys didn't tell me that red is the Ashwebi color for today.
We didn't even notice until you came in and you pointed out that Dr. Bati and I are matching.
All right. Well,
it wasn't intended.
Please include me in the WhatsApp group next time.
Don't worry. We'll find a way of sending you the memo.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Right, well, let's kick off what's trending today. Of course, we are missing OG. Can't wait for her to be back. She's taking a quick commercial break. Well, let's look at the stories trending today. Now, in a moment of cosmic alignment that was precisely predicted, yet undeniably mysterious, the moon crept across the face of the sun as seen from Earth. See how poetic that is. It cast its shadow onto the United States on Monday, and just like that, it was over. That was, of course, a total eclipse of the sun that has come and gone. It was naturally a massive global conversation, as the next will only cross this path again in 2044. Now, in a related development, Google searches about hurt eyes spiked on Monday afternoon, just after many US communities experienced the total solar eclipse. So the searches suggest that some people in the sun's path were worried that they'd glanced at it too long. So, total solar eclipse, Ayo, everybody was talking about it, and I know some people were saying, how did Nigeria get left out of this WhatsApp group?
Can we get a break, please? Can we have something exciting and interesting? Obviously, there are jokes around, or even nature has left Nigeria, but I hear that Nigeria is supposed to experience one in the year 2027, so that's something to look forward to. But yes, the world is agog. The United States and some parts of Canada experienced a total eclipse, and some people were able to witness this. I believe that Arise News also captured it live yesterday with reports, especially from some of our team members on ground, just to talk about the experience in terms of how you're affected. And it was just a coordination in terms of how this happened and how some people had watch parties to experience this act of nature that happens once in a blue moon, or eclipse moon in this case. But and that was the case yesterday, and like we mentioned, it is when for a total eclipse, I believe that's when the moon totally banks out the sun in the movement of the earth, in terms of the oscillation of the earth. And so it goes to show that at the end of the day, there are superior powers guiding things. I thought some people had to connect to their spirituality as well yesterday following that. But it was great to see the time. It happened about early evening, about past 7, between 7 and 8 p.m. And that took the world by, a lot of people were focusing on that, looking onto that. There were special glasses, as you saw in that video. But again, like we said, it's an act of nature. We're looking forward to experiencing such here in Nigeria, and hopefully it would be leveraged as an opportunity for tourism. Because some people drove. I saw some status like, okay, now you can all leave Dallas now. The eclipse has happened. So there were also opportunities for businesses as well in that regard, and just marketed. But brilliant and beautiful. And in regards to Google, when you type or search total or eclipse of the sun, you'd see them actually show you a brief eclipse on the site before you then find out information about it. So brilliant all around. It was a good day for the world, not just the United States of America and Canada.
Absolutely. I hope when it comes to Nigeria, we won't over-spiritualize it.
We will. No, I think we will. Some people might say it's the end of the world. I saw some posters saying that yesterday was meant to be the end of the world. So some people, I saw it. You always have people like that, conspiracy theorists who say, and in Nigeria, people are going to be putting holy water, going on their thing, or saying if you say a prayer point at the time the moon just passes, it will happen to you. So let's be careful about that, because also obviously people will be exploited for that as well.
Right. You see, since the beginning of time, man has had a very significant relationship with nature. The experience of that encounter between man and nature has not always necessarily been celebratory or, positive. When we talk about earthquakes, typhoons, cyclones, that's also interaction with nature, but of a different kind that often results in tragedy. But when you have a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, which is the opposite side of it, men are usually very excited. And that was why we saw that excitement yesterday when we had that solar eclipse, the moon crossing the moon, covering it partially in some places, covering it wholly in some places, and moving from Mexico into the United States, Niagara Falls in New York, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, and then moving all the way to North America, to the eastern and northern parts of Canada. The last time anybody in the United States saw, a solar eclipse was in 2007. And they are not likely to see it again until 2044 or 2045. What happens is that the moon is constantly moving every 18 months. So, the Southern Americans and the North Americans got the opportunity to celebrate that once in a lifetime, perhaps, experience yesterday. Maybe the next time, maybe in 18 months, maybe it will pass through, Nigeria. But people have developed a culture out of that, what looks like an exciting interaction with nature. But the thing to note is that it's not always that man's encounter with nature is, positive or celebratory. Right. We live in a dynamic relationship with nature in which we have found ourselves. Captured in that Latin saying that indeed, we are men. We imagine ourselves to be the most wondrous creation of God. But even in the midst of life, we're surrounded by all kinds of phenomena.
Absolutely. Now, I think on that very profound note, it's time for us to get into some more serious business of the day. Let's take another story. The presidency on Monday faulted former Vice President Atiku Abubakar's comments on the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road, describing them as a misrepresentation of facts. The Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway and Lagos-Calabar Coastal Rail are two distinct projects, and I quote, "It is unfortunate that the former Vice President is confused about the two projects, and we urge him to return to the library for real facts," end quote. This is from the President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, in a statement signed on Monday. Now, according to Atiku, the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project re-entered public discussion during the waning days of the Goodluck Jonathan administration in November 2014. However, due to his electoral defeat, the project failed to take off under Jonathan's tenure. Dr. Abati, I'll come to you for this back and forth that's going on about historical facts. Can you set the record straight? Who does the vision of the vision of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway belong to? Because the back and forth happening is now getting a little bit exhausting.
Okay. I thought we discussed this yesterday morning, right?
Yes, we did.
We did. And I made a point that, look, Waziri Atiku Abubakar raised a number of points that should be addressed. He raised a point about whether there was transparency in the award of the contract, competitive bidding or not. He raised a point about how much was allocated to the project. He raised a point about the nature of the project itself. Is it a build, operate, transfer project, or it was just something that the federal government is committing money to without necessarily taking it to the Federal Executive Council in line with due process? He also raised the question that, look, this seems to be a project in which the federal government of Nigeria will appear to be placing the personal business interests of the President Tinubu, above public policy. And in that regard, he was saying that President Tinubu is a business partner of the Shaguris, who are behind the high-tech construction company that is in charge of the project. He went further and also alleged that high-tech construction company does not have a sound record of performance when it comes to projects. And he added further that why is the project starting from the Lagos end? The 44.47 kilometers that is supposed to be the pilot phase, Atiku Abubakar was saying, should not have started from Lagos. He would have preferred it to start from Calabar. These are some of the points he raised. But Mr. Onanuga, the Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, in responding, said Vice President Atiku Abubakar, as he then was misrepresenting the facts. To wit, that one, there's a difference between Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway and Lagos Calabar coastal railway. And 2, he said he was misrepresenting the fact that the project was not started by the Yar'Adua administration, nor was it started by the Jonathan administration, not even the Buhari administration, that it is a new project. And 3rd, he made a point that, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, should stop misleading the public. But from what Mr. Ononuga has provided as explanation, he has not responded to the core points raised by Waziri Adamawa Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar, as an opposition politician, is within, clearly, his province to raise questions. And I said yesterday that it's not even Atiku Abubakar that is protesting. The owners of a landmark, a major cultural unit in Lagos State that is likely to be affected along the route where that construction is to take place, is also raising questions and appealing to government. Although I had said that, look, government can take your land, can take your property within the purview of public policy if government is acting in public interest. What you are entitled to, if it's, if you have the basic approvals, is compensation from government. So what is important in the award of contracts at all times is for government to act in public interest. And these are original questions raised by Waziri Adamawa Atiku Abubakar, to which I think, the explanation by Mr. Ononuga, does not fully address. It's inadequate. And so, apart from Atiku Abubakar, there may well still be persons who will raise questions about that project. And it's the responsibility of government to clear the air, to provide explanations, to disabuse the minds of the public that it is indeed not eternally true, as Lim Kuan Yew pointed out from the First Republic, from the Third World to the First World, that in Nigeria, people award contracts based on personal interest or make laws, based on personal interest rather than public interest. Those are the fundamental issues that need to be addressed, apart from the peripheral issues that I think the presidency has addressed so far. That's my view on this subject.
All right. Thank you for your view on that. Very detailed and insightful as always. Let's go to another big story today before our time runs out. So, the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu, has refuted claims that she is under investigation. A statement issued by her special media advisor on media, that's Rashid Olanrewaju, says that the EFCC has issued a clarifying statement to inform the public that Edu is not associated with any scrutiny related to funds transferred to 50 bank accounts. According to his statement, it has been reported that Zubair, an investigator with the EFCC, has expressed that there should be a distinction between Edu's case and that of Halima Shehu, who is indeed under investigation for misappropriating 44.8 billion naira, and urged the public to exercise restraint in engaging in a media trial against Edu. Well, of course, this follows the release of a bulletin titled EFCC Alert, authorized by EFCC Chairman Ola Olukoyede, with a subheading that says Update on Betta Edu Investigation, and which reports that with respect to this particular case, we have recovered over 30 billion naira, which is already in the coffers of the federal government, and also refers to 50 bank accounts that have been placed under investigation. So the question is, which narrative runs? Well, very quickly, while we're speaking about accountability of ministers, the federal government has unveiled the upgraded Citizens Delivery Tracker app, which will enable Nigerians to view the deliverables and key performance indicators for all ministries and give their own assessment. Speaking at the Go Live event, Hadiza Usman, Special Advisor to the President on Policy and Coordination and Head of the Central Delivery Coordination Unit, said the unveiling of the app underscored the current administration's commitment to improving citizens' participation, engagement, and inclusion in the governance process. So, of course, conversation about accountability and the Bettergate, as people are calling it, continues with these very different narratives. Ayo, what do you make of these latest developments?
All right, so interesting. It's almost a case of the word Betta Edu's team's word against the EFCC statement versus statement. So maybe the EFCC might need to clarify its statement, because what we saw and what you read verbatim is an update on the Better Edu investigation. And according to that, 30 billion naira has been recovered so far and 50 accounts probed. At the end of the day, I think it's a bit too early for Better Edu's camp. I mean, of course, everyone will want to protect their interests, protect their reputation, but it's too early when she's still under investigation to begin to release statements. Can the EFCC, well, the EFCC mentioned that some cases will take years to be fully investigated or to close a case when an investigation is being done. But what Nigerians deserve is the truth, especially whereby they have been defrauded. Because indeed, this is a defrauding of Nigerians. We need to begin to call a spade a spade. This is cheating and stealing from the Nigerian people, especially in a ministry that was supposed to be to help and support the most vulnerable in society. It's almost like double insult or double jeopardy. Sure. In that case. Yeah, it's really bad. And so that's one thing. But the other thing, in terms of centering on the investigation, so we're not distracted by this he said, she said, and what is that we deserve to know the truth. And beyond an expose as to how much was recovered, which is now said to be in the coffers of the federal government, is that there must also be convictions. We need to see trials. We need to see them go to court, and if found guilty in the court of law, then there must be jail terms. Because what we are asking for is a deterrent, so that people who come into office do not see it as an opportunity for enriching themselves. That's what Nigerians are asking for. So may I please ask Ms. Better Edu to allow Dr. Better Edu to allow the EFCC to do its job and wait for the conclusion of this investigation. Time will tell whether she is indeed guilty or not guilty. And beyond that, we don't want media trial. We want actual convictions. We said the reason why there's a reign of impunity is that there are no deterrents or punishments when even people are found out. We just hear a big case around recoveries and the likes. And very quickly to the Live Tracker app, I must commend Madam Hadiza Bala Usman. I heard her speak at the conference, at the International Women Leadership Conference in Dubai. She was one of the speakers. And she spoke about the arduous task of holding government functionaries to account, and how the office is trying to ensure that ministers are able to deliver on what they were employed to do. They are focusing on 8 priority areas: the economy, education, health, energy, natural resources, infrastructure, and education. And I think excellent priority areas. So beyond the FG launching the app, I think the big thing is for Nigerians to use the app. So go on it and report and evaluate projects that are being done. Please, let's all come. The active citizenry is a thing. So please, let's ensure that we report these, and we give feedback on these apps. But kudos to it. But let's see how well it is being used to ensure performances, optimal performances amongst the ministers.
Absolutely. Dr. Bati?
Oh, okay. I'll just be very brief. The main point to make is that, look, when the issue about the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation came up, the president took the decision to suspend the minister. And we were told that investigations would take place. Yesterday, EFCC, which is in charge of the case, distributed what they called EFCC alert. Now, in that their EFCC alert, they did not say that Better Edu has 50 accounts. They did not say that they collected 30 billion naira from her. And in any case, that investigation of that ministry is not just about the present minister. It's something that goes back to the Buhari administration. But the problem we have here, which the EFCC is trying to address in that statement that you quoted, is that, look, the investigation is ongoing. People should not jump to any conclusions. However, in this country, the big challenge that people face is media trial. You can be persecuted, you can be crucified, even when there is no evidence, to establish. Now, a person is innocent, or persons are innocent, until they are proven guilty. So it's not for the court of public opinion to go ahead of the system and arrive at certain conclusions not established. That's about that. So, people should refrain from crucifixion, from the likely danger of defamation or libel. The second issue about the citizens delivery tracker, well, I think it's important for as long as they can sustain it, and also make sure that citizens have access to it, and also that the integrity of that tracker is protected, And it is also important that Hadiza Bala Usman gets the support of her colleagues. She was asked by the president to be in charge of this monitoring and evaluation process. But she cannot do it without the cooperation, the support of the other ministers, and also the vigilance of the average citizens who must have access to that, tracker.
All right. Okay, now, very quickly to our last story, we end on a very feel-good note. Now, Lagos State has appointed Pelumi Nubi as a brand ambassador for the state following the completion of her 68-day solo drive from London to Lagos. In celebrating her, Lagos State has gifted her a brand new vehicle, an apartment in Lagos State, and a reimbursement of all of the costs of her journey. Nubi was received on Sunday at the Nigeria-Benin Republic border on behalf of Lagos State government by the State Commissioner for Tourism, Arts and Culture, that's Mrs. Toke Benson Awoyinka, and the Special Advisor for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Idris Aregbe. Great way to end 68 days, London to Lagos. I mean, what a feat, as a woman by herself as well.
Very proud of Pelumi. Pelumi is the first black woman to have achieved that feat. And I must say thank you very much to the Lagos State government for honoring her and celebrating her so loudly. I think one of the takeaways from this is the encouragement by the governor for Pelumi to become an ambassador, to showcase the beauty of Lagos State, to go on our rail tracks and show to the world the positivity and the positive stories of Lagos State as a tourist destination. I'm going to focus on that. I think that's brilliant. And I hope that we would see more inspiration for people. As the governor mentioned, her resilience, her can-do attitude. She encountered challenges in Sierra Leone with regards to entering. She had an accident, but she still kept going. So, and she had to postpone her return date a number of times. Congratulations. It was a proud moment for her parents as well, who were praising God, because this thing is not in the language of the streets, beans. It is a big deal. So congratulations, proud of her, taking a cue from Dr. Newton Jibuno, who's also done that, the Nigerian sage who's done that a number of times. Congratulations.
Well, congratulations to her. I mean, courage, determination, the fact that if you put your mind to something, you can do it. 68 days of travel, that's a lot. Oftentimes we hear, Europeans doing it and coming to Africa, but this time, it's one of our own, summoning the courage to embark on this historic journey. But the more exciting part of it for me was her father, saying that, our arrival in Nigeria is the end of our anxiety for him and and the mother, because you can imagine, there's also something about parenting in this. Your daughter leaves London and says she's traveling because she's a travel content creator, and you begin to wonder, how is this going to turn out? So congratulations to her, and thank you, Lagos State, but congratulations also to our parents, yes, who now have their daughter, and I've seen, her post on Instagram, jumping on the bed and saying, now I can sleep. And I think, that's the beauty of it. And I think that there are lessons that other persons can learn from this.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you very much, Bimba.
All right, that's all we have on What's Trending for today. Thank you so much.